Good morning, everybody. Welcome into your favorite podcast. Y'all know what it is. Coffee conversation. It's your boy, the lock right here live in the 50 coffee coffee food. Guess what, guys? I'm having a great cup of coffee. This morning, special night. I always have special tell special stories, real talk, real conversation. But today on the show, hope you guys can grab the coffee. Before we get started, I gotta talk about something, y'all. And I usually don't go on this platform and do the usual Joe Life. But this morning I gotta do a little something just a tad bit different. Because what I'm seeing is I'm disappointed. Um, right now in Birmingham, Alabama, people working through right. That election do. And some of the things I'm seeing online from my friends, I'm disappointed. I really am. I'm just disappointed because I hear us say that we don't like when we see other people talk about other people, call them out their names, call them out their character, talk about the different things they're not doing. But now I'm seeing online friends going up to friends, until they get friends going up to friends. And I'm gonna say this, black people going up to black people. Why? If you're running for office, in my humble opinion, let your work speak for you. You don't have to talk about it. If you're running for office, right, I know you're probably supposed to be held, right? But I'm just saying this as a person who's been voting. I want to know what you're going to do here. I want to know what you're going to do here. If you point out to me what somebody else did not do or the way they did, hey, let's do it. I see that out there. What would you do? Why would I want to vote for you if I see you pointing out everybody else's background, but you're not telling me exactly what you want to do in that person? When you if I decide to elect you, what are you going to do? How are you going to make that? How are you going to make my life different? I could care less what the person who's coming to because I already know that. So can y'all get back to the point of actually doing racing? I mean, not race, but not racing, but actually running for office. Running for office really means that you're going to be something different that's going to make me want to vote for you. I'm just being honest. To all my friends out there, y'all doing your thing. That's how I y'all do. But I would love to see us come together in unity and harmony. Because the person who can hear the most crap out there, to me, it's a huge challenge. When I see it, I'm scrolling past it or I'm deleting it. I don't see it. Especially when I'm putting it on out for one another. The way I see some of y'all like. Let's get back to let's get back to living our community together and find some. One thing comes when I have done such a great job in some things, you go in and think to us why you can do those things. Why you should do that. You can win a race. I have never seen anybody win a race that they get up and do it. And I will say, for all the people who have actually won races, right? Especially those, they got up there, kids, babies, and talking told them what they were going to do and how they were going to do it, and tried their best to do it by the That's what they do. I love all of it. Whether I voted for you or I was you still my friends. I hate to see us as a community fight with one another. After this race over, whether you win or lose, I still have to see you. You have to see each other. You should never be in a position where you say something so bad that at the end of the day you can't walk down the street, you can't get without getting what you need. Do better than that. Birmingham is big, but it's also small. It's lovely. Being said, I'm gonna get off my soapbox this morning. I'm gonna get back to coffees and conversations. But that was real talk. Okay. But I have real conversations here on the show. And I am very blessed to have great guests that wants to come on this show, wants to talk about their story. And I have great guests who wants to hang out with your boy and drink some coffee. Well, this morning I'm drinking coffee with one of my dear friends, been knowing her for a long time. I know she's gonna be mad at me a little bit because actually she's running for office. And so, what I said may have ruffled a little feathers with her, but something I know about her, she can handle it. If y'all don't know, y'all have seen her on the stage locally and in around Birmingham, Alabama, and in other cities too, right? Municipalities, speaking on domestic violence, things for the kids, working with the girls, and all this other good stuff. So at the end of the day, why do I have friends that's walking in while I'm doing my show live, standing here like you're gonna whoop my behind? Okay. Now I'm scared. Yeah, right. But anyway, I tell y'all who's in the building. But anyway, y'all, real talk. She's in the building. I am very proud of her. I am glad to call her a friend. But this is one thing I do not know. I don't know her story. I'm not going to even tell you what she's running for. She'll tell you about that in a few minutes. But y'all sit back, relax, put on your headgear, grab a cup of coffee. Because the one and only the beautiful, I don't even know if she got a man, but I'm going to try to holler at her doing this show, y'all. Watch what I do. It's your boy Joe like a Coffee Conversation, the one and only Pamela Bass is in the building. Hey, Pam, how you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Good morning. How you doing, Pam?
I'm good. I'm
Looking like a
good.
school teacher over there.
You know
Mm.
what? Stop.
Look at them glasses, the hair, the blonde. Did you get dressed up for me?
No,
Yes, you did.
no.
Yes, you
I
dressed up
got dressed up for them.
and me.
Yeah, okay.
All
Okay.
right. So how you doing this morning, baby?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Doing good, doing good. I see you out there doing some really positive things in the community, like always. I saw you at a wedding last week. I was there too.
You did.
Our good friend Mimi got married.
She did. Wasn't that a beautiful way?
Man, her and her husband. I love to see black love.
Me too.
I love to see love, period. But seeing your friends get married, man, is a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Yes.
Oh my God. I was so happy when I saw her and to see her walk down the aisle and cry.
I was crying before she even.
Yeah. Yeah. If y'all don't know, y'all, Mimi Women, she's been on the show before.
Yeah.
If you guys don't know, we had Mimi here on the show, but she actually walked down the aisle with her beautiful, wonderful husband last week. And I was in attendance. And I thank her and her husband for inviting me to the wedding. I thank them so much for that. So Pam, how you been doing?
I've been good. I've been
Staying
good.
out of trouble?
I don't get in trouble.
So Pam, how did we meet?
We met maybe about 10 or 15, about 15 years ago
Yeah.
with Community First Birmingham.
Okay.
I am a part of Community First with Walt, Abdul, Jude.
Right.
Oh, I forgot.
He walked in the building.
Yeah.
Standing over me like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm supposed to be scared or something.
So
I need to get him on the show too.
yeah.
Him and his lovely wife.
Yeah. So I met you then.
Uh-huh.
We started doing a lot of work in the community with the kids.
Right.
And that's when I met you. Probably maybe about 15 years ago.
It was about 15 years exactly. And here's the thing. During that time, neither one of us have stopped doing what we were doing,
No.
even though we did in different capacities, whether it's for domestic violence, whether it's for helping our friends doing talent shows in the communities, working in the schools. We've always done it in some shape, form, or fashion. Sometimes we was on the same side of the fence, sometimes we was on the opposite side of the fence, but we always respected each other.
We did.
And now one thing that I never thought I'd be sitting here interviewing you, okay, in this capacity.
Yeah.
I saw you doing, big things, but I never saw you at that time wanting to be in politics, getting ready to run for office or running for office now. And so you're running for school board district 8, right?
I am.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
But I don't care about that. Okay. I'm happy for you on that platform. All that stuff is good. So we're going to talk about that. But I want the people to know if they're going to vote for you, right? I want them to get to know the one and only Pamela Bass. So let's go back a little bit, Pam. Were you born here? Not mom and dad, in the same household, brothers and sisters? Let's go there.
So let me give you a little background.
Okay.
I'm from Mobile, Alabama.
Mobile.
Yes,
All
Mobile. My mother passed when I was 8.
Okay.
My father, who was a laborer all his life, my mom she took care of the household. But one thing I can say about my dad, when my mom passed, he refused to separate his kids. My dad was from Watley, Alabama, and my mother originally was from Sweetwater. So they were raised and born in the country, as we call it. My dad, all he knew was labor. My mother took care of the house. But when she passed away, one thing I can say, my dad refused to separate his children. But my dad never got over the death of my mom. So I was 8. And from that time, my father actually grieved until the day he passed. So growing up, being the only girl in the home, I've experienced a lot of things that has made me who I am, and the reason I am so passionate with children. I went through the common things you see on TV, and like I say, your story is your story, you know, and sometimes you can look at a book and have no idea what is inside of that book. So as a kid, I experienced what happens in the house as far as a family member improperly touching me.
Okay.
I experienced that. I also experienced domestic violence as I got a little older. So in my life, let's say when I made it to high school, I guess I was one that fatherly like love because my dad, he grieved, but he continued to be a laborer. So if people don't understand what that means, it doesn't mean that he did not love you. It means love was providing. But we know that love is a little bit more than providing. You got to show that physical love. So,
because I keep hearing you saying, and you making emphasis on this, and I'm gathering what you're saying now. You said at the beginning of when you started speaking, my father was a laborer.
yes,
So as a child, at 8 years old, 9 years old, 10 years old, were you missing dad love?
yeah, I can say that. Even as an adult, I sit back and I try to remember how many times I actually heard those words, and I can't tell you when I actually heard those words from my father.
Were you daddy's little girl?
Yes, I was the only girl. Daddy's,
Ah,
yes,
you
yes.
daddy's only girl. I'm asking you, were you daddy's little girl? There's a difference.
Honestly, no.
Okay.
My mother was the nurturer. I'm gonna use that word again. My father was a laborer, you know, and his routine was work, home, sleep, work, home, sleep. When we did family trips, my mother did that. When we did things that was family oriented, he went, but my mother initiated it. When my mother passed, those things no longer happen again.
So how did from 8 to 10 to 13, what was the difference before when your mother was living to you becoming that girl after your mother passed? How did that change you at that point?
The love was no longer there, and I felt like I was just a person in a house. You know, I didn't feel the love from my parent. I didn't have that nurturing spirit from my father. His action of love, like I said, was work, but not physical. You know?
And I love the way you're able to articulate that now.
Yes.
Right. Because I knew then you knew it was missing, but you couldn't articulate it back then. It's a labor. But I understand now that you're able to articulate what the kind of love that he was giving. Because it was love, but it wasn't what you felt you needed at the time. And you missed that.
I did.
Before your father passed, were you able to ever tell him these things you're telling me today?
No.
Why not?
Because my father took ill. And when my father took ill, I didn't think it was a time, you know, because I internally forgave him for what I felt like he did not provide to me.
So you felt you had to forgive him for that?
I did.
So that really scars you then?
I think it played a role in the things that I experienced growing up, because I was seeking something that I realized as an adult that really would only come from my father.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's deep. So the lack of being the nurturing love that some little girls want from their father can cause you to go seek those things in other places.
Exactly.
Or not understand when you're getting it what that may be because you're seeking it.
Exactly.
Am I on the right track there?
You are. You notice most people say the first person that should take a young lady out is her father. The first person that should show her all these things should be her father. So when she experiences it from a mate, it's not new to her.
Right.
Well, I didn't get to experience those first things. So what I thought would be correct, is some of the reason why I experienced some of the things as I did as an adult. And I know that now. But I don't fault my father for it because, you got to look a little deeper than that. That's how he was raised. The man took work and the woman took care of the house. So sometimes things go a little deeper once once I forgave and, I started seeking guidance and help, I saw things different. But I was an 8-year-old little girl that lost her mom, still seeking. So I vowed to not be a product of my environment.
I'm so sorry to hear that, honestly. I didn't know that.
I'm gonna be honest, I'm not, because sometimes life experiences is what make you who you are.
Right.
What qualifies you for things that a book can't qualify you for, or a school, is because of the experiences. And you try not to repeat those things, or you're passionate enough to help other people because you recognize it. I'm not talking to you about it because I read about it. I'm talking to you about it because I walked it.
Did you have brothers and sisters?
I did. I have a twin brother and an older brother.
Do they feel through conversations the same way you do?
Well, I lost my oldest brother.
Oh, wow.
Lost him after I lost my son. And my twin brother, at the time, we nurtured each other. Because you got to understand, my father, that's how he was all our life. So to us, it was nothing different. We didn't realize we was missing something until my mother passed.
Gotcha.
Because we were that common household, father, mother, children. So if my mother caught the slack, my daddy provided. How did we know what we were missing? Because we knew we were loved, but we just didn't know the difference or the capacity of it until we lost our mom.
So because you knew you were loved, did it or did it not affect your grades in school?
No.
So you was good through school? Okay. So dad provided, shelter, clothes, food on the table, paid the bills, all that good stuff. So you didn't want for anything.
No. Okay. But I didn't realize I was wanting for something, like I said, until my mom passed. Once she passed, that hug that you get, I no longer got that. That make you feel like you're somebody. I didn't get that.
Wow.
So I created that for myself.
How so?
I was determined to remain strong, go to school, get my grades, do good in school, and help other people.
Even at a young age?
I did. I started mentoring and helping people at a very young age because then my self-esteem was low. So in order to not have to deal with my self-esteem being low, I poured into other people. So I didn't have to focus on me because I was focused on you.
Would you say it's low self-esteem? What we would say low self-esteem? Was you going through a form of depression at the time because of the loss of your mom?
I can say that now because my mother showed me so much love that once she passed away, I didn't realize how much she showed. Being 8 and 9 years old, I still remember some of the conversations we had. And yeah, I can say that.
I'd like you to do something for me. Tell me one of the conversations that you remember your mom.
For real?
Yeah.
Okay. We were on the porch. Back then, we had a porch with the swing, outside.
I want to know the temperature outside.
It was storming.
Okay.
Her and dad kind of had an argument, and she slept on the porch. I slept on the porch. I was up under the swing.
Wait a minute, slept on the porch?
Yeah, my mama, she 10 toes down. She didn't play.
Okay.
If she disagreed, now it was never violence in my house, never.
Right.
But if she disagreed, she disagreed. So whatever she did, I did. So we was on the porch.
Okay.
And I remember she told me, when you grow up in life, be able to maintain on your own. And I was like, huh? She said, you'll understand later. Even when you're married, be able to carry your own weight. If your husband was to leave today or tomorrow, would you survive?
Mm-hmm.
If your relationship ends today or tomorrow, would you survive?
Mm-hmm.
Live your life as if you're the person that has to take care of you.
Wow.
I never forget that.
Wow. Thanks for sharing that.
I didn't understand it then.
Right.
But I do now.
So when those situations arise now, that's one of the conversations that pop up in your head.
It shouldn't really arise if you remember it, because you're going to walk in it. Even if you're in this perfect marriage and you both have excellent incomes, live as if you have one. Because if one gets sick or hurt today or tomorrow, the realistic world, they say, do you have 2 months on reserve? But in this world, do you really? So if you live it as if it's one and manage and budget off of that, when you find yourself in a situation, you're already prepared. Wow. So that's what I get out of what she told me being an adult today.
Go ahead, Mama Bass. I like that. Yeah, that's beautiful. So you and your brother close? Your twin brother?
Are.
Okay. So how was that relationship? So that means y'all was twins. So that means y'all graduated, did everything at the same time. So is it really true how twins operate? Do y'all think and see each other and act like each other? Because he's a boy, you're a girl. Do y'all mimic each other?
No, we don't. We feel each other, but we don't. We are the total.
Wait a minute. Explain the feel. Explain feel. What is that? Because I don't really believe it, but is it true?
It's hard to kind of explain it, but it's like if he's going through something, like he's still in Mobile. We may talk once a month, every other month. But it's like if he's going through something, I'll make that phone call, or I'll just feel like I need to call him or he need to call me, and it's like at the right moment. I know that sounds funny, but
so I'm being sarcastic. Can you feel him right now?
No.
I'm just asking.
He's okay right now, so nothing's going on.
So only when he's something.
Well,
maybe?
we talk, but it's just funny that happens, you know. But
identical twins or just twins?
We're fraternal.
Okay.
My mom is fraternal.
Really?
And I have a set of twins that are fraternal. That's 3 generations. Behave.
Hey, Pam, how you doing? So, when you graduated high school, did you go to college?
Well, not in Mobile. I came here. Before we get to that point, I went through, when I was in high school, I attached to an older man.
Oh, this will happen. I thought this happened later, so this happened early. Okay, well, let's go there.
It goes into why I didn't go any further.
Let's go.
And I think it played a role in that wanting that nurturing, need, I guess, what I didn't get from my father.
So this happened in high school?
I was in high school.
Okay. What grade?
8th, 9th. I mean 9th or 10th.
Okay, freshman, sophomore. Okay.
And I was spoiled. I mean, the old school would say I was the trophy. Only older people understand what that means. And I guess because I was older, I mean, he was older and I was younger, and I was in high school. At that time, I had rings on all my fingers, on my toes, little stuff. They don't think about that now. Right. So, but I wasn't allowed to do the things that you would normally do in high school.
Meaning?
I couldn't hang out with the girls. I couldn't do any of those things.
Okay.
Stuff you would think you would be able to do, I couldn't do.
Strict father.
Yeah, but that was my boyfriend.
Huh?
Now you see what I'm saying? I was dating an older man.
No,
he was older than me, but
so your father that wasn't being strict on you, the guy you was dating. So your father didn't know you was dating him.
No.
Right?
No.
There was no way in the world your father could have known that you was in the 9th or 10th grade dating an older man. So Can I ask you this question? How much older was he?
7 years.
So you were 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
16.
16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. You staying a 23-year-old man?
I was.
How did you meet this 23-year-old man at 16 years old, ma'am?
One of the games. I was a cheerleader. One of the games at the school.
Did he approach you?
Can't remember exactly, but I think so.
Was he part of the school?
No.
He was just
one of the games.
Okay.
And then in my rebellious my rebellious time, I was going out telling my dad stories and stuff.
Lying to your dad.
Yeah, I was.
Well, where you was going.
Yep.
Okay.
And because I was old, I looked it older than what I was.
Right.
So I was able to go places that I probably shouldn't have been.
So were you lying to him about your age? Did you lie to him about your age?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I probably did.
Okay. All right. And so what happened?
So
how long did this go on before it was already inappropriate for him to be talking to you? Mm-hmm. But when did he get to the point inappropriate where he first touched you? Was it months in, a year in?
Oh, it was years. Okay. When I started realizing, hey, like around my junior, senior year, I wanted to go to parties. I wanted to hang out.
Hold on, you dated this guy all the way through high school?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute.
They found out later my father.
No, but hold on, Pam. Mm-hmm. You dated a grown ass man all through high school?
I did.
I'm just gonna ask because this call was in conversation. Were you intimate with this guy?
When I turned about 17.
So a year later.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. We have a child.
Huh?
We have a child.
Okay. I'm learning a lot of stuff here.
Yeah.
So do you feel, and I'm gonna ask you don't have to answer this. Do you feel your father let you down because that situation happened and he wasn't there or he didn't know?
I'm gonna say no.
Okay.
Because that was a point in my life where I chose to be rebellious.
Okay.
You know, and I'm gonna say I chose the rebellious thing because I was lacking what I didn't realize I was lacking, and I just was lashing out because my father still continued to provide, but I don't blame him for that. Maybe the lack of, and I was still seeking what I thought I needed or what I was supposed to have when I really didn't know what I was supposed to have or what I needed.
So this next question is going to be very, very important here. So did your dad find out about him before the baby or after?
Before.
What did he say?
Nothing. Nothing. He was providing. I was getting everything. And
Pam.
You want the truth?
Pam,
so I'm
no.
Giving you
your dad did not stop the relationship.
No.
Wow.
No.
Okay. So at what age did you get pregnant?
17.
And what did your father say then?
Nothing. I take that back. He said, you're going to take care of your child.
At that point, you're feeling your emotions about your dad. Because when your dad found out about this, you dating this older man, even though I'm sure you would have been rebellious, was there a part of you that wanted you wanted your dad to say, you can't do this?
No.
No. So did the guy provide for you?
Yes.
He did? Mm-hmm. Was he a good father?
Yes.
So at any point, I guess this turned bad in some shape, form, or fashion. What happened?
It's because everything was centered around him. I mean, he was there for everything. But then when I became, my junior, senior year, I wanted to hang out. Didn't realize I never really hung out. He wasn't having it. So that's when the problems came.
Okay.
Because I wanted to do those things. After the game, I was a cheerleader. I wanted to hang out. I couldn't. He was right there. He took on more of like a father
figure.
Yeah.
For you.
Like game over. You got to go.
Now, I know you said when we first started this interview that you was inappropriately touched at a young age. Mm-hmm. So was that him?
No.
Or was it someone else?
It was
was it before? It was before him.
A relative. It was way before.
It was way before him.
Yeah.
Did you tell your father?
I did.
Did your father handle that?
No. Let me back up. No, I did not.
You did not.
And I did not because my aunts knew. And it was a situation where you have to realize back in those days, what happened in the house, stay in the house. Mm-hmm. And that was something that bothered me up until an adult because I needed answers about it. You know, why didn't nobody do anything? Why didn't we tell my dad? Why didn't we this? Why didn't we that? So one of my aunts basically finally gave me the answer, and it was as an adult because I needed to know these things. My part of healing, I needed to forgive a lot of people, and I needed answers. So basically, she said, you had just lost your mom, and we had to make a choice to not let you lose your dad. So it was a case where they came. It was something like TV. They came, they fixed the situation, and they said it did not exist. And all my life, that situation did not exist.
But I do understand that because, at the end of the day, if your father would have found out, he probably hurt that person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something. So
as an adult, I understand.
As a kid,
but as a kid, that I never forgot, but I was supposed to forget because it never happened.
We're supposed to have selective memory. A lot of people want you to do that. Yeah.
You're familiar with suppressed memory?
Yeah.
That sits on the back.
Yeah.
And incidents that cause it to come to the forefront.
Yeah.
So that's where my book derived from.
Mm-hmm.
I am her and she is me.
Mm.
Her is that hurt little girl. Her is the person that went through a lot of things in life that made her become me.
If you guys just locking in right now and drinking your coffee, you're locking in and talking with the one and only Pamela Bass. She's running for school board district 8. We're going through her story. And if you guys are looking for someone that's passionate or, someone that understands, some things in life, continue to listen to the story because she's going to be on the ballot. You may want to vote for her. So the guy that you had a child by, you graduated. What happened?
What? One day, a situation happened that was bad.
Okay. Now it's constant conversation. You've been open. You said situation. So situation meaning?
It was a domestic.
Okay.
It was a real bad one.
First time?
Oh no, it was many. It was many.
So this grown man was putting his hands on a little girl.
I was grown then.
You was not grown, man. You was a little girl.
Well, I wasn't in school anymore. So
if you was under 18, you was a little girl.
No, I was over 18 at this time.
Okay. So he didn't start laying hands on you until after 18?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, technically.
No. We're not gonna do that. Either it was before 18 or after 18, man. Come on, let's call for some conversations.
It started before, but it became worse after.
Okay.
It was like once or twice. It wasn't all the time before, but then it became worse after.
Okay.
It was years. So one particular day, I just couldn't take it anymore. I had started talking to older women. They were mentoring me. They were talking to me. I was learning what was right, what was wrong. I was working in nursing. I was working for BioHealthcare, and I never forget one of my patients said, either you accept it and you live with it, or you leave. So this one particular fight, I ended up in the hospital.
Jesus.
And a nurse came to me that would see me all the time. She said, you didn't hit a wall. You didn't fall. You didn't this. She said, next time, I'm going to be visiting you at the funeral home. She gave me a mirror and made me look at myself. My jaw was kind of dislocated. My right eye had damage to my pupil, and I had a patch on. I had So at that point, I came to Birmingham. June 12th, 1999. I got here at 2:30 p.m. And I've been here ever since. just like that.
So you left.
I did.
I want to go back just a smidge, because during that time, right, when it happened, it's a cliche question, honestly, because I know people that's close to me that's still in this to this day. I know I'm probably gonna hear the answer that I don't want to hear, but I got to ask you, Pam. Why did you stay?
The reason I'm gonna say this, I mentor people. I talk to domestic violent women. The common thing you're gonna hear is I stayed for the kids. At this time, I have 2 children, so I just want to add that I have 2 children.
With
yes.
Him? Okay.
And most women, you're gonna hear them say, "I stayed for the children," because a lot of people, I hid it. A lot of people didn't know, and to this day, some people did not know, because when I went through a domestic situation, I stayed locked in until it healed up, you know. So a lot of people didn't know. And a lot of women now and men, they stay in situations for children, but what they don't realize, you're creating a problem child because you're letting them see, regardless of how old they are, or make them think that this is normal. It's okay. Kids know. Kids see those things. So that was my main reason. I stayed because of my boys. And I felt like that's what they needed, until talking to an older lady, I said, I can't do this anymore.
What would trigger him for him to do that much?
Anything.
To do that much damage, right? What triggered? And because I'm a man, and I've had things happen to me in my life, but I've never, because I've been through it, I saw it up close and personal, would never want to lay hands on a woman, right? Me, if I see a guy doing it, right, I can't stand by and let him do it. When I'm sitting here and I'm talking about this right now, you know, I'm close to this too. And there's a couple of things I want to say myself, but I'm not. But I would say this here right now. I don't know how any man, I'm gonna put that camera on me. I don't know how any man can say you love a woman and do some of the things that y'all men are, the horrid things that y'all do to women, and then stay in the same house and get back in the same bed with that woman like you didn't do a damn thing. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Whoever that dude is, I'm talking to your ass, right? Now, let's go back to the interview. Because again, there are men out there, and I ain't gonna call them monsters, right? Whoever they are and what they do, this, I don't get that thinking that you can love somebody. You got kids and you can do this in front of kids and not do it. Let me just say this. There's a time you can lose your temper, and you should never do that. But there are repeated offenders that do this over and over and over and over again. How? I don't get that mindset. I don't get that thinking process of any man or any woman who can abuse somebody that you claim you love and then act like you didn't do nothing. Here's the other part. Why don't women, more women, let me calm down. Why don't more women report this man? Because there are women, right, that don't report the man. And I know of a situation where for years, 20 some years, this man did this to this woman. The one time she got a lick in on him and she put a marker in his face, guess what he did? He called the police on her. She has a record. She has a record for domestic violence. He did it for 20 years. Plus, hear what I say? As soon as she left the mark on him, a little scratch on him, he documented that.
So that's where low self-esteem come in.
Okay.
Because I'm finna talk to you from being in that situation. I found fault in myself. And when your self-esteem is low, sometimes you're gonna always fault you for the situation that you find yourself in. Okay. Like if I'm using an example, I'm not saying this is it. If I know he didn't like salt in it, why did I put it in there? If I know he didn't like me smiling at this man, why would I smile? If I know he didn't like me doing this, why would I do it? So when I tell people, everybody like to say what they woulda, coulda, shoulda, all that. unless you walk in those shoes, I'll give you my shoes. I'll give you a crutch. I'll give you what you need because I guarantee you can't walk in it. Unless you walk in those shoes, you don't know what you would do.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes back farther than that. When you believe, if he said the sky was red, it was red. I don't care what you see. I saw red. And when your self-esteem is low,
mm-hmm.
and you really feel like that's love and no one has told you what love is, that's why that's one of my questions in my book. What is your definition of love? If no one has ever shown you love or told you what it is, you're only going to believe what you've been shown until somebody can show you different.
So, what is love, Pam?
What's my opinion of love?
Yes.
There's different versions.
Okay, but you've been through it all now. You're on the other side. What is your definition of love today?
My definition of love, that agape love, is unconditional.
Mm-hmm.
You love everything about me from my head to my toe, big, little, small, and you love yourself just as well. Mm-hmm. To me, it's up to the person to know the difference. Love is, people say love is it an action word or is it a noun?
Mm-hmm.
The act of love is an action word.
Mm-hmm.
Because what if I was paralyzed, couldn't move? Do that mean I don't love you? So love is authentic. Love is from the heart. It's not attached to anything. Mm-hmm. I don't love you if you do this, or I love you if you do that. I just love you just because you are who you are. That's my definition of love.
Okay. With your two sons you have with him, how's that relationship?
One is deceased.
Okay, sorry to hear that. Do you care to elaborate on the deceased or just move past?
Well, my oldest son, he was murdered here in 2020. So not only do I talk about domestic violence, and I have attached myself to the youth, and that's why I talk to a lot of I started with young ladies, so they won't go down the road I went down, I don't fault anybody. Let me make that clear. I don't fault anybody for the experiences in my life. Now, some contributing factors were there,
right,
but all these things, I made those decisions regardless of my age. And as we will always want to play the victim, but you got to hold yourself accountable for what role you played in your situation of being victimized. So I don't fault anyone. Matter of fact, all those things made me who I am today. My oldest son, he was murdered in 20. And it took me back, and am I still hurt about it? I am, but my son was an adult. And I had to come to a point in my life where, just like I accept the role I played in the things I experienced in my life, the choices that he made in his life is what put him where he was to be in the situation that he got in that ultimately cost him his life. Mm. That does not mean I did not love my son, and that did not mean my son deserved to be killed. Mm-hmm. No. That just means we have to hold ourselves accountable for our actions. Sometimes the road we go down. And I tell parents now, I fought myself. Where did I go wrong? What did I miss? Mm-hmm. Did I not provide? Did I not this? And then it took me a little while, but I had to pray about it, deep counseling, and realize, no, I gave him all the tools of life. You can give your kids all the tools of life, but it's up to them to use them. So I had to forgive myself for where I was faulting myself for my son's death.
Okay. Was the son that's no longer with us, was he a product of the guy that did the abuse?
Elaborate what you mean.
The guy that you was dating in high school, was that his child?
No.
Okay, a different one. Okay. So your second child?
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So how's your relationship with that child?
All my children, I have 4 in all. Okay. I have I had 3 boys and 1 girl.
Okay,
and we have
sounds kind of familiar, huh?
Yeah.
Well, don't that sound kind of familiar? Because you told me at the beginning of the story that was only 1 girl, and that was you.
Talking about with my dad.
Yeah.
But it's only 3 of us. I have 4.
Yeah, but still,
it's
only
similar. It's
one
similar.
girl.
Mm-hmm. 1 girl.
Sound familiar?
1 girl.
Okay. just saying, you know, the twins, one girl. Okay.
But me and my kids, we have an excellent relationship.
That's good.
Even that son, you know, we had a great relationship. He respects his mom. He respects what she do and what I've been doing for years. You know, so even when he made other decisions, he did not involve me in any of those things or those decisions because he respected who I was.
Because of what you've been through, and I want to ask you this personally. What's the best way to say this to my friend? Are you still traumatized? Are you still hurt by this? Are you still healing from the things you've been through?
I'm gonna say I'm not traumatized anymore.
Okay.
I don't even call myself a victim anymore.
Okay.
As an adult, I'm able to look back and hold myself accountable for the roles I played. So that is what got me to where I am. And truthfully, I'm not ashamed of the walk that I've walked because I don't think I would be this woman I am today if I didn't experience some of those things.
So are you healed or are you still healing?
I feel I'm healed.
You feel you healed.
Because in order for me to help other people, you know, they say a hurt person hurt people. And if you're broken, how can you help somebody else put their pieces back together?
I had Bishop Moore, Owaski Moore on my show last week. Right. And he was going through something. And, you know, as a bishop, he still prays for people. And the question I did ask him, I like, well, how can you pray for somebody when, you know, you're going through something? And he basically said some similar to what you said, but he just said at the same time, he said, God, don't stop my gift.
He don't.
Because I'm hurting. Right. And I thought that was profound because a lot of times when I say, okay, well, you messed up. How are you going to help somebody else when you're messed up? But the way he elaborated that to me, right, and articulated it to me, I was like, wow. So I'm always curious, like when you're going through something, because I don't believe every hurt person hurt people. I do believe that some hurt people find ways to help other people so they can help themselves.
Right.
I truly believe that because I'm one of those people that went through some things like, did I hurt some people or do some things along the path that may have hurt somebody? Possibly. But was it intentional? No. But when I look at Pamela Bass, right, throughout your whole life, and I had no idea about none of this. I knew this. When I say I knew you, I didn't. Today, on Conference and Conversation, while I'm sitting here, right, I'm getting to know you, and I understand why you are the way you are. When I first met you, you was always kind, you was giving, smiling all the time. And you had a love for kids that was the charisma, the way you spoke to kids, right? You had that style that I loved. I didn't know why though, but listening to you today, now I get it. Now I understand because of everything you went through, you don't want to see other kids, right, go through the same thing you've been through. You don't want to see people, things happen the same way you see you have things happen to you, right? And I think that's really cool because when we all go through something, right, it makes us either worse or better people who we are at the end of the day. And so when I see you now, honestly, and this is what I really like. This is what I was talking about at the beginning of the show. Politicians, right, that are running for political office. Your story, knowing about you, watching this interview today, if I didn't know you, but I know you're running for school board district 8. Let me say that again. You're running for school board. You're running for, city council. You're not running for them. You're running for what fits you, where you can make a difference with your talents. Okay, that makes sense to me. I may not know you, but I know your story. So I sort of kind of know you, right? Now, if I'm sitting there and I'm not telling nobody how to vote, you vote for who you want to vote for, because I don't do that. But what I will say is I'd rather vote for somebody that I know a little bit about their story and can look at them as when I'm sitting there asking you tough questions. Guess what you're doing? You're answering every one. You're not ashamed of your past because you said the past is what made you and what made you be here, right? So when I'm looking at you, number one, thank you for everything you have done and anything you will go ahead on to accomplishing your great career. But also, I want to tell you that I will continue to pray for you in everything that you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Now that you're running for school board, and we know all your story, we know how you didn't got there right. Pam, you in a relationship right now? Oh, she grabbed a coffee now. Look at her, she grabbed that coffee now. Because people want to know. People looking at you. You're looking like you got the school woman look. You got the blonde hair. You got your ladies. I'm looking at you, Pam, and I'm single. I ain't got no ring on my finger, so I'm just saying, baby. Yes, are you single?
I think that's irrelevant.
Gotcha. I'm gonna call you after the show to find out. She gonna make a call on that one. I love it. So with that being said, though, so what do you do for fun?
Well, honestly, it's circle around the kids. I just want to add, I have started a nonprofit organization.
Okay.
I'm a co-founder with that person that kind of popped up on us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's called the Genesis Project.
Let's go ahead and put his name at Jude Washington.
Jude Washington. He is the founder.
Yeah.
And I'm the co-founder of the Genesis Project. And it's we collaborate with Community First.
Okay.
But we do a little bit more with the community, kids, those that have been incarcerated. Just a lot is broader. And we up under us, we have a young girls group, which is my mentor group. It's called Destined to Be.
Okay.
And these young ladies, oh my God, they awesome.
Really?
So in my fun time, it's mostly with the kids. Okay. They always they schedule stuff for me to do, and the parents be like, "Well, what time?" I'll be like, "What time for what?" They have already scheduled. Like when the kids can say, "Well, you don't do anything," and they can schedule to go to the mall, or they can schedule to do this. I'm like, "Well, how you know?" They say, "Are you gonna say no?" I said, "No, I'm not gonna say no." So my fun time is with the kids,
I got one question. I'm sitting here and I'm listening to your story. I got one question I really do want to ask you.
Okay.
Because you say you have a daughter. Pam.
Yes.
With the daughter you have now, are you giving your daughter the love that you did not receive as a kid?
I am giving my daughter that love. And to even elaborate on it, my daughter, I respect who she is. My daughter is, she do live an alternative lifestyle. And I respect her for that. I love her just the same.
So, but do y'all have the tough conversations?
We do.
Okay.
Because I always wanted to be that one to everyone, not just her. They call me the mother of Birmingham. I mean, when I tell you, they call me. I have girls that I've mentored now and young men. One, he is a professor at a Harvard, at an Ivy League school. I played a role in him becoming who he is. One of the young ladies, she is actually RN, is working on her nurse practitioner license. I played a role in who she was. I've been that person for a lot of them that, found themselves in situations where they can call Mama Pam, or they need to have a tough conversation with their parent. And they're there. But these are all adults. So here I am starting again. The set of young ladies I have now are age 8 to 18. So
gotcha.
I'm grateful to be that person for many young people, not just young ladies. Speaking in Lawson, I used to speak at Lawson. I spoke at Miles.
Right.
One young man, I spoke on domestic violence, and he said, "Miss Pam, you're focusing on the women. We get abused too."
Sure.
And at that point, he opened my eyes. I am mainly talking about young women. It is men out here that are abused too.
But it's hard for you to relate to that because you're not a man. So,
No, but abuse is abuse.
True.
Physically or verbally, it's abuse.
Got a question I want to ask you. Through everything, from 8 to now, did you seek therapy? And if you did, at what age did you seek therapy?
I didn't start getting therapy until I was an adult here in Birmingham. The part that we missed out is I became ill.
And what down?
Ill, sick.
Okay.
I suffered a brain tumor. I survived. I suffered a mini stroke. I survived. I
Mhm.
suffered congestion heart failure. I survived, and I just got depressed
Mhm.
because I was like, "Why am I still here?"
Wow.
So I started seeking counseling
Mhm.
here. Um, I realized that's what made my workbook come out,
Mhm.
and I created my workbook because I found myself, and this is just me now.
Okay.
Let me put this disclosure out there. I'm not telling anyone counseling does not work because it does. But what I found myself when I go talk to a therapist, I was talking to myself,
Mhm.
or so I came up with my workbook. I am her and she is me. And what the workbook does, it forces you to dig deep
Mhm.
because a lot of time we suppress who's hurt. And any little thing can trigger that hurt person to pop back out. So the
Gotcha.
workbook forces you to help yourself.
Mhm.
And that's how I came up with the workbook. And then at that time I was severely obese. I had to lose weight to save my life. So I've been through a lot of stuff in life. It's not just circled around domestic violence, it's personal, it's a lot of things.
So you brought that up. I want to ask you. So what was your maximum weight?
415 pounds.
The room went silent, y'all. Here, everybody.
My maximum weight was 415 pounds, and I needed to save my life. So, yes, I did have the gastric bypass surgery, but it was to save my life, not because I didn't like me. So, let me throw that in there.
Okay.
Because at that point, I had began to love me, but my health was at jeopardy. So, yes, I was once 415 pounds.
Wow. You've been through a lot.
I have.
And you sharing the journey and the story with us, I do appreciate it. But I got to ask you this here. You done been through all this. You done mentored. You done spoke on high platforms. Many years. You done did a lot of stuff. Even became a mom. And the mom of Birmingham,
Grandmama.
grandmama. With all that being said, Pam, why have you decided to run for school board district 8?
I'm gonna say I never saw myself being in a political realm.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna be honest. And I really feel like school board shouldn't be political,
Okay.
but it is because it's about the kids. Birmingham City schools have truly improved. I got to give them their props. The board they have, I've seen it, but I would like to enhance it.
Okay.
I would like to add to it, not take away. I have nothing bad to say about it. And now I want to help the kids on another level. My children are grown now.
Mhm.
My babies are 23, but I'm still in the schools and I'm still working with kids. So it's not about, I just want to make sure mines are okay. I want to make sure I can make a difference with everybody and continue to make a difference. Add to it. I'm focused on emotional learning. I'm focused on career and college ready. I know a lot of times we talk about career, but everybody's not going to college. A lot of times we talk about college. Let me say that correct. Everybody's not college material.
Mhm.
So my thing is, I want you to be career and college ready. So that's what made me do it. Decide to go this time. And then
How much pushing and probing did our friends have to do to make you get in there? Because I know the people behind the scenes. So
well,
Abdul,
the guys,
Walt,
Abdul,
Mimi,
Walt, Mimi, a lot of people pushed me towards it. And before I actually made the 100% decision, I reached out to Tony King, which she had ran before, and I reached out to
Good friend of
Mr.
mine.
Antoine Womack
Mhm.
because they both had ran
Right.
for District 8. And both of them told me they were not running. And I reached out to them out of respect,
Yeah.
because we are
And you know them.
friends, right?
Yeah.
So they both told me they were not running and gave me their full support. So
Okay.
that's what pushed me on over to go ahead and do it.
Well, that's a beautiful thing. If people want to find out more about you on your platform, where do they go find you on social media?
Pamela Bass.
Pamela Bass. Okay.
Pamela L Bass.
Okay. Now, we'll get ready to end the interview. But before I do this, I want to do this because this one here, I ask this question on almost every interview, but this one here, I really want to know your answer. I want to know them every week, but this here, because I didn't know your story so much, I'm really curious what it's going to be. What would you tell 8-year-old Pamela?
you can be whatever you want to be. Just
Beautiful.
stay strong and hold on.
All right. All right, guys. The one and only. She was in the building, Miss Pamela Bass. If you guys want to know about her, if you want to know more about her, just go ahead and make sure you follow Pamela Bass out there on social media. And I'm going to tell y'all this right here. I hope you guys enjoyed that interview. That interview for me was it got personal because it reached some depths for me that I've been through. If anybody have been through these things, make sure you share this video out there and let people know that you can come out on the other side of this. You really can. I want to thank Pamela for coming on to the show today, y'all. Y'all make sure when it comes out, y'all share this video out there. Thanks so much for supporting Coffees and Conversations and making this one of your stops on Wednesday to have a cup of coffee with your boy. Y'all know how I feel about you, right? You know, here we go. It's a cup of coffee, baby. I love you. Have a good one.